Good evening. My name is Edmund Fosu. Then today we'll be looking at crosstab and percentage table. At any point in time, if you feel I'm going too fast, or at any point in time you'd want further explanation, kindly pause and kindly let me know. You can also drop your comments, your questions also in the chat. Okay, based on feedback from you guys and some of the things previously, I think we were solving questions because you wanted help with that. But for now, you have to understand the thought process that informs solving of that particular question. It's very important to understand the thought process that informs solving that particular question that we've done, and then how to go about it and what it means at all. That is what we're about to actually do today. So today, I'm basically going to take you through the concept first. Then we apply the knowledge of understanding the topic, the concept, to how we can actually break down a question and how we can solve a question step by step. And after that, I'm sure you definitely have the idea of crosstab and percentages fully in mind, that there shouldn't be any question around this particular area that you will not be able to solve. So let me oh, okay. I thought, can you see the slides visible for you?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. At any point in time, as I said, if you have any question, kindly let me know. So today's lesson is focusing on crosstab and percentage table. Basically, maybe in mathematics, you don't want me to bore you with too much of grammar, but it is necessary to understand the concept. It's necessary to understand why we do what we do and what it means or what it implies. As I said, I would not admonish you or tell you to actually end up doing what people do, which is you basically have to memorize formulas just like that without having the rationale to understand how the formula is or what comes into being and why we have that is very important. That way, I told there are some we solve that you can with a formula, you're able to use the formula to this. If you understand the concept very well, you can disintegrate the formulas into pieces, and out of that you can get the table or you can extrapolate the table from the formula. So you don't have to basically memorize a table in your mind. No, it shouldn't be so. So there, it is very important for you as a student to understand the concept of what we are about to do so that you don't have to then memorize things, but it becomes a skill that you develop. So as today we're looking at this, our focus is to able to identify variables, and at this particular level, the variables that we are going to stick with is going to be the dependent and independent variable at this level. The other variables, but at this level, that is what we're going to look at. How to draw the table, you calculate a percentage, and you're going to explain how the relationship, how you can use the data to explain the relationship or what you are seeing in terms of the representation of the data, right? And somebody asks why this. This is actually important because when it comes to social science, questions are asked uh, about how to compare one group with another, right? So this crosstab is one of the easiest way to do that comparative analysis, right, across different variables or on the table for in a tabular form. Okay, so this is what we're going to do today, crosstab and percentages. We're going to understand cross-tabulation, percentage table, dependent variable, independent variable, and interpretation. And I'm going to explain all that. So the main goal of this lesson is what I've basically spoken about, which is re-identifying the variables while building a crosstab, right? And arranging them in terms of the rows and column for you to get to know Where will the row be? Where will the column be? Where's my X going to be? Where's my Y going to be? That's very important. How to convert it to percentage. So after you basically represented the numbers or whatever information you have on the table, how then do I convert, or how then am I able to get the percentage of those figures that are there? You're able to draw another table that we call the percentage table. So a percentage representation of the values that you have been given, right? And also right interpretation, right? You're able to interpret what you are seeing on the table. So what is it telling you, right? When you see this table, sometimes you realize that in elections, you find people, even with you, even in election, you find yourself sometimes having to compare. You see a table, okay, I feel the NDC had did more well in the Ashanti region. The NPP did more well in the Volta region. You want to try to do a comparative, and you're able to do that analysis when you see on the table. You want to compare the figures. So we're going to use that idea of interpretation, the idea of analysis of that particular table, to be able to do this as the second component of the question. At the end of the day, you realize that what we'll be doing today, it will resonate straight away with questions that we'll be solving, right? Which is very important, that you're able to apply this knowledge to solve what the questions what also. So, meaning of crosstab. What at all is crosstab? What is it? So, crosstab, as in simple terms, is a table that shows the relationship between two variables. So you're having a table that is kind of telling you a story, that with this table, when you're looking at me, you'll be able to tell what are the relationship between these two variables. Variables are basically what we seek to measure. A variable is what you seek to measure. So these variables are the independent and dependent variable at this level we're going to look at. So in one breath, you realize that you are going to put one variable at one side, another side. So you may have one at the top, one, you count as many boxes also on another side. So you're going to use that, and you're going to use the everyday example so that you're able to narrow it down. So for example, what you see over here, one variable is placed as a row. I just want to put that in place. One variable is also placed as column, as I said, the X and the Y. And then each contains the number of people in that category. And it will help you to compare across group, as I said. So you see a table on the screen, right? The table shows what counts only, right? So let's look at that. What you realize is that we have columns, right? We have rows and columns. So in one breath, what are you seeing? On the table, in one breath, what do you see? There's nothing like a wrong or right answer. I just want to know, in one breath, what do you see?
I've seen the opinions of people where we have yes, no, and then don't know. So on
Good. Hello, carry on.
So with the opinions of the people, we have male, and
Yeah,
we have 12 that says yes, 8 that says no, and then 3 male saying don't know.
good. So over here, you see the table is giving you an idea of how you can link opinions as against gender, right? The opinions here are saying what a male is saying yes, what a female is saying no, or when a male is saying yes or no, or don't know, right? But for example, imagine we have the same thing written that way. You may not actually be able to find, you're able to do it, but you may not like how it is when it's written down, whether in a tabular form. But in a tabular form, she's able to just even use that one to be able to give what an assertion of what she is seeing. So that table is able to help you do what that analysis. So in one breath, I said we have the dependent and independent variable. We'll get there, where the dependent is the cause, the dependent is the effect, and the independent is the cause. So The dependent is what we seek to predict, what you are seeking to predict. The independent is what is causing that particular what prediction. So with this particular table itself, Rebecca was able to actually what tell us what she's foreseeing from this table, right? So I would want us to go. I would not want to touch too much, and I just want to explain. We have other tables ahead of us, so I want us to use this. Now explain the variables. The most important distinction. The reason why we are doing this is that if you realize your questions will tell you that construct a crosstab table, establishing the relationship between the dependent and independent variable. So it means that you have to understand what a dependent variable is and what an independent variable is also is, right? You have to understand these two things. So now the dependent variable is the outcome or response that what the researcher wants to what explain. So what we seek, the outcome, what we seek to predict, what we are seeking to predict. Then independent variable is the factors that is used to what to explain the difference. The factors that is used to what explain the difference. And then what you're looking at is that you're asking yourself that what is influencing this particular outcome? What is influencing this particular outcome is very important to you. You're looking at what is influencing this particular outcome. Right? So the key rule over here is that the dependent variable is the response, while the independent variable is the grouping or what explanatory word factor, the grouping. So under gender is a group, right? Where we have under gender, what do we have?
We have male and then female.
Thank you. So under resident, what are some of the things you can get under resident?
Rural and then urban.
Rural and what? Urban. Amazing. So this is telling you that in one breath, you can identify the independent variable by using what? Groupings. Put that in your mind, right? You can have what? Groupings. Put that also what in mind. So with that, you know that the independent variable, you can have them in terms of grouping or explanatory what? Factors, which is very, very what? Important. I'll be dropping some scenarios or examples, and I want to see how you may want to explain them. So I'm going to ask this. Please, Eunice, if I can get one co-volunteer who can also be a co-host, so that you can mute if the person's background is noisy, I'll be very grateful. Okay, you can raise up your hands. Hello, I want to volunteer.
Eddie, I've raised my hand.
Okay, sorry. Okay, let me just do that. So I have no problem if you want to unmute, but as long as your background is not noisy, I would kindly admonish you to just mute your background if you think you're in town. Okay, so just do that for me if you think you're in town and then your background is noisy. Kindly mute yourself as we do this. If your background is not noisy and you have a okay place that maybe when I talk you respond and those, I have no issue at all if you want to mute yourself. But please be mindful of your background before you want to speak or talk about it. Okay. So I would want to drop some things and let's kind of discuss and let's see what the ideas will be or what we're going to have in terms of that. So we are going to dwell on social science, right? So when we say we're asking like, does religion influence opinions on legalizing marijuana? What category is it? Would this be independent or dependent variable? Does religion influence opinions on legalizing marijuana? Religion is what?
Independent.
Religion is independent.
Thank you. Religion is independent groupings. So under religion, you can find Christians, Muslim, traditional. You can find Hindu, Buddhism. Yes. Then the dependent will be what? Does religion influence opinions on legalizing marijuana? And I said the dependent variable is what we seek to predict. And where you see on the slides that what is being explained. So in this line, which one will be the dependent and which one will be the independent? You said religion will be the independent, which is very true. So in this instance, which one will be the dependent? There's not like a wrong or right answer. Just feel free. It helps us. The opinions. So I've dropped that one in the chat. So the opinions is going to be, right? So we all agree that the independent variable over here is what? Religion. Then which will come under Christianity, Muslim, traditional, Buddhist, however. The independent variable will be what? Opinions, right?
Yes, please.
Good. So the next question. Someone should be in the chat and then read the next one I've just posted. The one which is the second one, which is a 2 that I've just posted in the chat. Someone should read for us. And then let's determine which one will be the dependent, which one will be the independent variable.
Does attending private or public school affect one's performance?
So over here, which one will be the dependent and which one will be the independent variable?
I think the independent variable will be the school.
Thank you. Amazing. Then the dependent variable will be what?
Maybe performance. I don't know.
Thank you. Yeah, that's it. The WASI performance. You see, so for example, what you're trying to say about the independent variable. The independent variable is what influence what the outcome. Always we are seeking to what influence it. The independent variable is what we seek to predict. Over here, what we are predicting is the grade of the people, which is what the WASI performance. Either you pass or you fail, right? But what is we want to stand upon and see if what influence that performance, that if he goes to a private school, does the person perform very well? If the person goes to a public school, does the person perform very well? That is the question. So that's what the independent variable, because that is actually determined for us.
Please, you are muted.
Sorry. Please, I hope you are getting it now.
Yes, please.
Please.
The reason why I'm spending time on this is because so that at the end of the day, when the question asks you that establish a relationship between dependent and independent variable, you are able to give that particular distinction. I hope you're getting what I'm trying to say. That is why I am actually doing that. Can someone read the next one I've posted?
Does parental education influence students' academic performance?
So what do you think will come in as independent and which one will come as dependent? We'll take this and the last one, then we're done.
Maybe education will be independent. And then still performance will be the dependent.
Will be the dependent.
No, the first one was, so education is true. The education will be the independent and the dependent will be the still performance. over here is that, you see, the education, your form of education is what we are trying to predict the outcome. So we are trying to predict the performance of students, the student academic performance. So we are trying to predict. But we are trying to predict that, but Rebecca, the performance of your GPA, if it's high, if it's medium, if it's low, if it's a first class, if it's an upper or whatever, that's what we are trying to predict. That's the dependent variable. What will influence Rebecca's outcome is what is called independent. So if Rebecca is schooling, will she be performing high or low? No schooling, will she be performing high or low? If Rebecca is having, like, for example, a basic education, having secondary education, tertiary education, or having their parent just teach, how is it going to be? And maybe your parent teaching you, you may not perform well, right? Maybe you may perform well. That's what we're trying to predict. That does this thing kind of what influence? Does it change the performance of the students? That's why sometimes some of you say that we want to see, like, that's the teachers that you have. Somebody say, okay, the teacher's performance, the teacher influence how we perform. Have you not said some before?
Yes.
What if you say, oh, this teacher comes to class, when he teaches me, I really understand. He's good. He's that. And that teacher can say, oh, this teacher when he gets me on the course and I'm not getting it. So we are looking at what the dependent and what independent variable. The last one I'm looking at over here with you guys. This one I'm leaving for you guys to be able to what give me. I know you can give me this one. So someone should read that one out for us.
Does year of study affect hostel choice? Which one will be the independent variable? The year of study.
The year of study. Good. Which one will be the dependent variable?
The choice.
So the choice.
Hostel choice.
Hostel. Yeah, hostel choice. Amazing. That's super. Because the hostel choice as in either on campus, off campus, home, or whatever it is. Right? The independent variable becomes the level, the year, level 100, level 200, level 300, level 400. I'm super impressed the way you've been able to go through this, which means it's very, very good. You get the concept for both the independent and dependent variable. So now the next one, we're looking at how to identify the variable, right? So we've done a brain exercise. Step one, you read the research question carefully, right? Identify the outcome or response or opinions. Step three, you identify the factor what used to what compare the groups. And then we've gone through all that level of student study affects what support for campus policy and blah blah. So we've gone through all this. So we've gone through all this particular one, which is dependent and independent variable, right? And now you have a grip around it to know what a dependent variable is and what an independent variable is. I'll be okay down on that particular concept, right?
Yes, Kwadwo.
Yes.
Thank you. So then let's move to a work example. I was supposed in the slides, I was supposed to put this after, not for you guys to see the answer, but because we've done this already in terms of the dependent and independent variable. Remember that when we were doing it, we had one that was about gender, right? So in this case, having our table, realize that the opinion on the online class is what our dependent variable. Hope you are seeing that.
Yes.
Good. Then the gender, which is male and female, is an independent variable. So you see how we've tabulated, or we've actually represented data in a cross-tabulation format, a cross-tabulation format, which is opinion which is the dependent variable, comes first. Then we list the options for the dependent variable under it, which is yes, no, and not sure, right? We are going to do a practical example, don't worry, but I just want you to have a mental picture. So as we delve into that particular example or that particular work we are doing, you'll be able to have that or grasp that. Or how you get what I'm trying to say?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So the opinions over here is the yes, no, and not sure, right? Then the male and female presenting what? The gender, which is the independent variable, right?
Yes.
So in this table, it's showing us that when the question opinion on online classes, when the question on opinion on online classes was posed, we had 4 males saying there were 20 students in all. 20 students in all. You had 4 males saying that yes, online class, right? Classes. 5 said no, 1 not sure. You had 6 females saying yes, 2 said no, 2 not sure. The total is 10, 10 each, 10 males, 10 female. Accumulated the total figure, which is 20. So in a nutshell, if you are representing numbers on a cross-tabulation table, this is how it can be, or it has to be. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. But on top, cross-tabulation, you put it in this nice form. But this table is for you to understand and able to assess how the relationship between the dependent and independent variable has been represented on the table. And I hope you now see how it has been represented on the table, right?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Then that's the construction, we've done that. So I want to explain the concept also in terms of the row column. So put this in mind. Okay. When you are constructing the crosstab, you place the what? Independent variable category in the row. Then you place the dependent variable category in the column. Please, are you getting what I'm trying to say?
Yes, Eddie.
Yes, Eddie.
Or do I have to explain further?
Sure.
Do I have to explain further? So listen, let's go back to this. You see, we had the previous one, right? You see this one, right?
Yes, please.
Good. You see, and the step is saying that the dependent variable is where? Where's the dependent variable going to be? Row or column? The dependent variable will be on which side?
Row.
The row.
And the independent variable will be where?
Column.
Columns.
Keep that in mind. So it means that this side here, the side where you see opinion, downwards is where we have our what? Our what? What would that one be?
Row.
Our row. So where you see opinion, where you see opinion, you see yes, no, not sure, is the row. Do you get me?
Row. Yes, please.
Where you see the male and the female is what? Is the column. Do you get me?
Column.
Please, you get me?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Please.
Arrangement of the row and column, or the representation of the dependent variable and the independent variable on the table is important, because it will form part of what? Of your understanding of the question, and it's going to form part of what? Of being able to get marks for the question. Because your question says that determine the relationship between the dependent and what? The independent what? Variable. Do you get me? Do you get me? So
Yes,
there is a need. There is a need to do that. Then we move to the cells. Is where you write the frequency count in each cell. So the cell we're talking about over here is where we wrote our 4, our 6, our 5, our 2, our 1, our 2. Do you get it now? Where we wrote that particular, the values is what we call the cells, right? So the crosstab is equal to 2 variables plus a category plus what? A frequency or frequencies. And you get to know that each particular number in that particular crosstab represents the frequency for one category combination. You have to put that in mind. So this is how you can structure or represent or the construction of the crosstab or the cross-tabulation table. Cross-tabulation is the same as the table. So cross-tabulation, where the row has to be present, the column has to be present. You have cells there, and I've shown you which part is the row, which part is the column, and where the independent variable lies and where the dependent variable also lies. I've explained what dependent variable is and what independent variable is. We've gone through examples and we're able to differentiate between the dependent and independent variable over here amazingly by you guys, which I'm very, very impressed, which is very good. And you now understand what crosstab in itself is. So as we move forward, we move now to what? Why percentage table are needed. Why the percentage tables are needed. So we are now moving to what? Percentage table, where it says crosstab and percentage table. You get me? So now a frequency table, right? We have, right? So we have the frequency counts are what? Useful, right? But they may be very difficult to compare with group size difference. So based on that, we want to then represent the figures that we had into percentage. So you realize that, for example, these figures you see over here, like the 4, the 5, the 6, the blah, when it comes to a percentage table, it's going to be represented in what? In a percentage form. And it's going to be converted on the what? On the base of 100. It's going to be converted on what? On the base of 100. So it means that, listen, if you are going to find that, it means that the percentage rule, what is it? Percentage are going to be calculated by using what? The independent what? Variable categories, which is what? The cell value divided by what? Column total times 100 times 100. So in this instance, who can tell me how this is going to be? If you're going to take one and tell me how you're going to do this, the cell value time divided by column total times 100. Somebody can pick 4. When you pick 4, what will 4 be? When you pick 4, what will 4 be? You said 4 over
10 times 100.
4 over 10 times 100.
Yeah.
When we pick 5, what will 5 be?
5 over 7 times 100.
When we pick 1, what will 1 be?
1 over 3 times 100.
Good. I'm leaving it like this. Good. Now, someone should give us the answers you are getting for this. And then we're going to do something. I'm going to answer. Someone should give the answers you are getting for this. So the first one is what? The first one is what? 40. So 40%. Since you are coming to percentages. Second one is what?
Yeah, coming.
There is a need for you to also take your calculators, be joining us to get to know how we are arriving at that. 50.
50,
50, right?
50. Yes.
The last one is what?
1. That is 3.33.
So the last one is 1 divided by what?
3 times 100.
So column total over here is what we are using over here, which is the column total 1 divided by. So that's what he just did over here times 100, which will give us what? The percentage of what we are looking for. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. So that's the same formula we'll be using when we get to our question to solve. But I want you to put in your mind that it's going to be cell value divided by what? Column total times what? Times 100. That is how come you end up getting percentage. I hope you're getting me.
Yes, sir.
Good. So as for he just did over here, 1 divided by it's I'm coming. So over here, we'll go back to this as in your column total over here is supposed to be 10. So it's supposed to be 1 divided by 10, not 3. Do you get me?
Yes.
Yeah. So the total is going to be 100%. Please, do you get it?
Yes, Eddie.
So the column total is this one, the one here, the 10. So when you pick the females to, will be over what? The total that you have over there, which is going to be what? 10. I hope you get what I'm trying to say.
Yes, please.
Now, the one who did the first one, do you get it now?
No.
Okay, so there's the reason why I allowed. So I wanted to understand what your thought process is. So listen. So the first one, what he did was that, listen very well. Because he said cell value divided by column total times 100. What happened was that he took just this and then this total. I hope you are seeing this.
Yeah.
Do you see that? Good. So let me explain something to you. So if you check very well in the, for example, what your lecture does, you realize that your lecture sometimes does not bring this thing at all. Do you see that your lecture does not bring this thing, this particular 1073? Do you see that?
Yes.
And I saw when some of you were solving your own, you brought this 1073, right? And when we were solving earlier for the assignment, I didn't bring this particular column. Do you remember?
Yes.
The reason why I did that was that this is where sometimes you can get confused. You may end up taking what is here as your word column total. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good. So when I am drawing a crosstab table, I just do up to this side and I take this total out. This total is allowed, but if you get to know that it will confuse you, don't bring this. But when you don't bring it, you are still not going to look smart.
Okay.
I'll get what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
If you don't bring this part, you are still not going to lose what? Marks. So you can then rely on this, this, and this. But you know that if I pick 4, my column total will be over here, over 10. I'll get what I'm trying to say. And the
Yes,
trick
sir.
for you over here is this: learn this. If you are done and you add all and doesn't add up to 100%, that means it is something is wrong. I'll get what I'm trying to say.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Good.
Eddie, come again.
So what I'm trying to say is that when we are doing trying to find for percentage, when we're trying to find for percentage, and the rule is saying that when we take the value, which is when we take what we call when you take what we call cell value, the cell value, you know, is the values that have been given to you in the question. Our values here is 4, 6, 5, 2, 1, 2. Please, do you see the value now? The one who was saying you
Yes,
don't
please.
understand your name.
Yeah, I get you now.
Okay, now, no, don't worry. Do you see the value now?
Yes.
Good. So I want you to just understand my thought process. So if these are my values, then per the raw total for this value, right, is that when you add 4 plus 5 plus 1, it will give you 10, right?
Yes.
When I add 6 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 will give me 10, right?
Sure.
So if I want to get the percentage for the value of 4, so I'm building a percentage table. This time around, I don't want to write the raw value like 4. I want to write the percentage of that. How do I get what I'm trying to say? So, Saram, I hope you are getting me. Saram.
Yes, please. Yes, please. I was trying to meet someone. Yeah.
So what is happening over here is that you don't have to mute yourself. If your background is not noisy, you don't have to mute yourself. You don't have to mute yourself. So if I have 4, the principle is saying that I pick the 4, the value, the frequency of the value by a 4, then I'm going to divide it by the total column, which is, so the formula was saying that by self value time divided by column total. So the column total times what? Times 100. I'm going to do by that particular column total. This column total, sorry, this column. These are the column, the column total, right? Times what? 100, right?
100.
Yes.
4 divided by 10 times 100 will give me what?
40.
Then 5 divided by 10 times 100 will give me what?
50.
Good. Then 1 divided by 10 times 100 will give me what? Hello? 1 divided by 10 times 100 will give me what? Will give me 10%.
10%.
Who will give you 10%?
40 plus 50 plus 10 is what? 100%. So that means the total corresponds. That's how you find for the values. So when we get to the percentage, we realize that we will not just place 4 there. We put in the actual percentage of 4% there, which is 40%. The actual percentage of 5%, which is 5, which is what? Sorry, 50%. That's the value I want to fix in that table. That's what I want to take notice of. But when I'm doing it, I'll end up not bringing this particular table, right? Some of you may want to bring it. There's nothing wrong with that, but I will not bring it so that you're able to get to know and focus on that. Are you getting me? So that's how we are going to extrapolate the table. When we get there, don't worry. You get, when you're doing a practical example, you come and get it. When you sum all up, it has to be what? 100 what percent? Do you get me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So in this instance, does our answer correspond what we just said?
Yes.
So we had the 40, 50, 10, right? So our answer corresponds exactly with what we said. In this instance, what we then, so over here, the highest male score was what? The highest percentage for no was what? In the table, the highest percentage for no was what?
Was 50.
50%. It's a percentage,
Yes.
so you have to bring the percentage.
Was
The
50%.
lowest for not sure was what?
10%.
10%.
Okay. Then the lowest for no was what?
20%.
Thank you. I'm just trying to build your mind to how you can analyze this table, percentage table. That's why I'm just asking you that. I'm just asking those things for you to be able to have that idea, how you can analyze. Because I'm just going to use the idea of what you are seeing to analyze in that regard. That's what I basically going to do. So amazingly, we have our table intact, right? Then how to interpret the table? Interpretation. Because the second part of the question was ask you to interpret what you see, or analyze what you see. Even though some of you you do the cross-tab only, no, but I'll say that use the percentage in do your interpretation. So step 1, you state the sample or the context of the table. So what the sample side? Oh, this was a research in presenting blah blah 200 students or 500 students or blah. State the sample of the context of the table. It's very important. The first thing you have to state. Then describe the important percentage in each column. You can take each column as in, okay, maybe when I take maybe no, what's the important percentage? When I take not sure, what's the most important percentage? When I take yes, what's the most important percentage? Or when I take the male, what's the most important percentage? When I take female, what's the most important percentage? Then you conclude whether the independent variable appears to be related to the dependent variable. You have to conclude by saying, okay, fine, this shows that there is a relationship between so and so and so and so. I hope you're getting what I'm trying to say.
Yes, please.
So look at how we do it. Among males, the highest portions, the highest population or portion that says no is maybe, let's say, this, or 20% of, no, 50% among males. Whilst among females, the highest proportion that says yes represents 60% on the table. This suggests that gender may be related to what opinion on what on online classes. So I've concluded also. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. You can bring in the values, then you coin it that way by, first of all, I'm saying you talk about the sample size, come and talk about what you are seeing on the table, what the table means to you. Then you come and conclude, is there a relationship between the percentage and the dependent and independent variable? Please, do you get me?
Yes, please.
Please, at this point, is there any question? Is there anything that you need clarification on? Because you're going to interpret it by, as I said, by the sample. So I start by saying a total of what, let's say 20 students as were studied. Among male students, 50% said no, 40% said yes, and 10% were not sure. Whilst among female students, 60% said yes, 20% said no, and 20% were not sure. This suggests that opinions on online classes, this suggests that there's what is related when you have opinion on online classes is related when it comes differ by gender. Differ by gender. So maybe males have this, female have this. That's what you should put in your mind. So this tells you what sentence comes first, what follows, and what sentence you're going to end it with. So it means that the opinions by gender over here is what differ, right? So the first one I gave you here was that you start by saying among this. So you talk about what the sample, right? The highest portion said no, whilst among females the highest portion said yes. This suggests that the gender may be related to what opinion or on online classes, or may not be. So the step means that sample, important, percentage, and then what, whether there's a relationship or there's no relationship. I hope I get what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
So in this particular table that we did, how I would give an analysis would be that I'll say that the total of 20 students. Somebody asking the 20 students, then where is it coming from? Remember that when we did the cross tab of this particular table, what was it? It was 20 students, right? Males were 10 and females were 10. Do you remember?
Yes.
That's where I got my 20 students from. Then I've stated the sample size, right? Then I come to the table that a total of 20 students were studied. Among male students, 50 said no, 40 said yes, and 10 were not sure. Whilst among females, 60 said yes, 20 said no, and 20% were not sure. This suggests that opinion on online classes differ among genders, or differ between males and female, depending on how you want to put your sentence. That is how you present it. Please, do you get me?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Is there any question? Can I carry on?
Yes, please.
Thank you. So we've then interpreted and all those things, right? So it is just helping us to be able to read what the patterns, right? And that is what you see. Male says no. You see that graph I've put in there, right? So this is just to help you be able to analyze, as in how to read that table. That you focus on an important percentage, identify the last percentage in each group, compare the group side by side, and then state what the pattern in a clear sentence. If you're able to do this, you've actually been able to analyze and interpret it very well. And common errors you should avoid when doing is that first is that mixing up the dependent and the independent variable. Avoid doing this. Secondly, avoid putting the variable in the wrong place. You have to put that in mind. And avoid using the wrong word, total, when calculating the percentage. So realize that when we were doing the calculation earlier stage, we said you realize that the total that was taken was wrong, right?
Yes.
Good. That's for you to understand that that's an easy mistake you can make. That's why I allowed that for you to be able to recollect the easy mistake you can make. That's why I'm ending the slides pointing out that common mistake, because over the years when I'm teaching this, I realize that that's some of the small mistakes that comes along. So you have to take notice of it. It's very important. That interpret the count as if they are what they were a percentage, right? And then writing analysis without mentioning the main comparison, that kind of stuff. So that's what we have to do. So you listen to the figures without giving interpretation. All those things is what you are doing, right? So this is how you can actually do when it comes to the errors you have to avoid when it comes to cross tabulation. So the summary of the process or our thought process over here is that we've identified variables, we've determined the dependent and independent variables, right? I was amazed how you guys were able to identify all the dependent and independent variables for the examples that we picked. That is brilliant of you. Thank you very much. And then we're able to construct a crosstab table, right? Where we arrange rows, columns, and we fill in what frequencies. We calculated what percentage, right? Using the word appropriate column total too. Amazing. Then we interpreted results that we just did by describing the pattern that showed by what the table. So at this point, I'll ask you if you have any question. If you don't have any question, then we'll go into the question today I wanted us to solve.
Yes, boss.
Yes.
I joined late. Can you just give me a general overview of the independent variable?
So what we just spoke about, dependent variable and independent variable, is that dependent variable is what we seek to predict, while the independent variable is what is causing the prediction. So when it comes to independent variable, in terms of explanation, we said that the dependent variable is what the outcome, right? What you are seeking to explain. The independent variable is what seeks to influence the outcome. So we picked an example like this. For example, does religion influence opinion on legalizing marijuana? And realize that, look at the key rule right here. Look at the key rule at the end of the slides. It said the dependent variable is the response, while the independent variable is the grouping or the explanatory word factor. So over here, the grouping in the question, the example that we're using, that does religion influence opinion on legalizing marijuana? The grouping over there is what is religion. So there is a Muslim, is it Christianity, is it Buddhism, right? Is it Hinduism? So that is what the independent variable. Well, that's what it's seeking to influence, right? Then the dependent variable in that particular context has to do with what? Opinions, right? The opinions. The same way when we went to the next one was, does attending private or public school affect WASI performance? So in this instance, what happened was that our dependent variable was WASI performance. Because the WASI, we are trying to predict maybe pass or fail. So the dependent variable was the WASI performance. Then the independent variable was either, is it a private class or a public? So if you go to a public school, will it have an adverse effect on your performance? Or let's say if you have a kid and you send your kid to private school, will the private school have an adverse effect on your kid to perform better, or when you go to public school? So that thing that we are trying to assess, that's the independent variable. That's what influences the results. So the results that we are trying to predict, maybe for example, if you have a child, you are trying to predict your child's results, either he pass or fail. So the pass and fail, no, that's a dependent variable. But that's what we are trying to predict. That maybe if you have a son is called maybe Kwadwo, what will Kwadwo pass and fail? No, that is the dependent variable. Kwadwo's grade is a dependent variable. But that's what we want to predict. What will lead to Kwadwo failing or Kwadwo passing? Or what will influence Kwadwo's fail or Kwadwo pass? is the independent variable. So if Koku goes to public school, he's going to get 100%. If he goes to maybe, for example, let's say private private school, he's going to get maybe 20%. Or if he goes to a public school, he's going to get 50% or that. That is what the independent variable. So the factors that is what influencing the outcome. Mr. Silva, I hope you are getting me. Hello. Hello. Mr. Silva, please, I hope you are getting me. And then we give another example about does year of study affect hostel choice. So if maybe level 100, 200, 300, 400, that's an independent variable. Then the hostel choice, which has to be on campus, off campus, home, becomes what the dependent what variable. So in a nutshell, that's how we represented dependent independent variable at this particular what level. Because I hope you are getting it. I hope you are okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Are there any more questions? Then we move to the question of the day that we want to solve. Are there any more questions? Can I carry on?
Yes, please.
Okay. So then we close our slides. Then we move to you're going to take a screenshot of the question over here in this regard, because I'd have to then project this. We're going to use this question, right? This one. Someone can read this question for us.
Okay, a group of PhD students did a study of support for periodic periodic alluta on campus on students' welfare among UG students for a sample of 1,000 students. The following data was collected for 200, level 200, level 100 students. Okay, the following data was collected.
Sorry, it's not your fault. Carry on. For level 200.
The following data was collected for level 200, level 100 students. For level 200 and level 100 students, right?
It's supposed to be, you continue, level 300, level
Okay.
400, level 400, level 400 students, and level 100. So kindly continue. Sorry, it's not your fault. Okay.
Okay. So for level 300, level 400, level 200, and level 100 students.
Yeah.
100 said yes, 60 said no, and 40 said don't know. For 300, for level 300, level 200 students, for level 300 and level 200 students, 120 said yes, 140 said no, and 40 said don't know. For level 200,
okay, sorry, continue.
Okay. For level 300, level 200 students, 120 said yes. 140 said no, and 40 said don't know. For level 200, level 300 students, 50 said yes, 80 said no, and 70 said don't know. For level 300, level 400 students, 60 said yes, 140 said no, and 100 said don't know. Indicate which variable is independent and dependent between course level and support for alluta. Develop a crosstab and a percentage table for the data and write an analysis explaining student support for ALUTA. A. Construct a crosstab showing the relationship between the independent and dependent variable. B. Write an analysis of the relationship between the dependent and independent variable.
The first question I'll ask is that what is the dependent and independent variable?
The independent variables is the levels, the level 100, 200, and 300. And then the yes and no are the opinions, which is the dependent.
Sure.
Do you agree with her?
Yes, I agree.
Are these the only two people in the class?
No, please.
Hey, why? Okay, they are right. The levels becomes the independent variables, and then the support for ALUTA becomes dependent variable. But what is listed and so under the independent cost level, we have level 100, 200, 300, and 400, right?
Yes.
And then under support for ALUTA, what do we have? What do we have on our support for ALUTA?
We have yes, no,
Yes,
and
no,
don't
and
know.
then do not agree. They don't know, sorry.
Know. Good. Oh, that's nice. So when we are drawing a table, let me come back to that. Do you have a shot of this particular question?
No, Eddie, let's take
Yes,
it
we have a
before
shot
you.
of it.
Take a shot of it.
Do.
Eddie, you can go ahead. Those who have taken a shot of it can send it to the group later on. So you continue.
Okay. So please put this very well. Look at this. So look at this for the question is so for 200, as in we are saying that the level 100s were 200 in number. For 200, level 100 students, as in 200 students representing level 100s, right? 100 yes said yes, 60 said no, 40 said don't know, right? For 300, for level 200 here, then we'll come to level 300, then we'll come to level 400. So in order of how the question over there. So and then 1 indicates, I think it's the same question. So what is it? Indicates which variable is independent and dependent variable, tune cost level, and then 2 develop a crosstab and a percentage table and data writing the analysis. So please a minute.
Taking a decision, the upper BI Oko Shamus and Oko Shamus and I said, the Biko is just a bit matching.
So if you take the shots, then I can leave the screen, then we start solving, okay, on the board. Can I move on?
Eddie?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, Eddie.
Yes, please.
Please, from the question, does it mean 200 people are level 100s?
Yes.
Is that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's what it means. So please, can I carry on?
Yes, please.
Okay, so if that is so, let me close this tab, then let's come back to our board. So our board comes as in, let me see, how? Right on this side. B. A. Give me a minute to realign the board. Sorry. Can you see the board now?
Yeah.
Hello. Sorry for
Yes,
the
it,
earlier one that I had to realign. So if you can see the board now, then I guess we can go. Technology, I think I didn't test the board. Forgive me for that. So working sheet as usual. Working sheet. Sorry, we have to do this thing one more time. That should give me a few minutes to do this. Sorry. I'm just trying to rotate the board, and then I think I didn't get the rotation right on that. Certain monitor. Just a minute will be there. Sorted out. Sorry for that small hiccup. Let me just with the board. Let me just clear that, and then let me share the screen. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
yes.
Thank you. And sorry for the earlier messed up. So we're going to do by going for working sheet, solution, any is okay. Okay. They all boils down to the same thing, working sheet. And then our question says what? What does the question ask us? Don't read the whole thing. What does the question tells us to do for the first one?
It says
What the
we should
question tells us to
Solve
do?
for the dependent and independent variables.
Yeah.
Construct a crosstab showing the relationship between the independent and dependent variables.
Okay. So we are going to, it asks us to construct the relationship between dependent and independent what variable, right? So if that is so, I have my, you can't write crosstab and go and write table. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. Do you get me? Please, do you get me?
Yes, Eddie.
Yes, please.
Or either crosstab or cross-tabulation, right? So in this instance, I'm going to have a table drawn this way, that way. We're going to do this. So for me, I'm going to put this here. We're going to do this. So I said, support for aluta. What are what are the terms under it? What are the terms under support for aluta? What are they?
Yes.
What are they?
Yes, no, don't know.
Okay. Yes, no, don't know. So yes, said no, don't know. Total. So as I said, we are supposed to establish dependent independent variable. So here will be our what? Dependent variable. Please write a full term. I'm writing a short term because of space. So you're supposed to write dependent variable. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. Please, you get me?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Here
Yes,
becomes
please.
your independent variable. IV means independent variable. Then I do my first cut, which is level 100. I do my second cut, which is level 200. So let's do my second cut level 300. As I said, some people may decide to bring, do another table for maybe total. That's you can do that. But to avoid confusion, I'm not going to do that. As I showed you and some of you, so I'm not going to do that. So we don't have any confusion. So when we have this, it means that first of all, I've already shown where the dependent variable is and where the independent variable is, right?
Yes,
Yes.
please.
And know that the dependent variable is the y, the independent variable is what? Is the x.
Yes.
You may even write the independent variable and under it write calls what level is okay, or put this one that is okay. So I do this, right? Then the question becomes, what did level hundreds get for yes? What did he get for no? And what did he get for don't know? So this time around, one person will take level 100, one person will take 200, one person will take 300, one person will take 400, and then we'll go. So one person should take level 100, one person should take level 200, one person should take level 300, 400, and let's go. Give me the values for what represents level 100, 200, 300, and 400 from the question that you're just taking a screenshot of.
Okay, I'm taking level 100.
Okay, thank you, Rebecca.
So for level 100, the yes is 100.
100.
Yes. And then the no is 60. Don't know is 40. And then the total is
60.
200.
Don't know is 40. Total is 200. Thank you.
Yeah.
Who is giving us level 300?
For level 300, the yes is 50.
The yes level no,
Level
sorry, level 200.
300,
Who's in level
200.
200?
Okay.
Yeah.
Level 200, the yes is 120.
120.
The no is 140.
140.
And then don't know is 40. Which the total makes 300. 300.
Okay. Then
And then
level
for
300. No, let Rebecca, let someone try also like level 300 for me. I just want to see if
okay.
we all do have the same. Who wants to try the 300?
Eddie, can the question
So
be put
level 300.
Yeah.
50 said yes.
50 said yes. Thank you.
80 said no.
80 said no.
And 70 said don't know.
Good. So then what's the total?
$200.
200. So who's going to give us level 400? Another person should also give us level 400.
Okay. Level 400. 60 students said yes.
Okay.
140 students said no.
Okay.
And 100 students said I don't know.
Okay. What was the total?
300.
300. So now my question is, who doesn't know where or how we got these figures or where we got these figures from? Sorry. Who doesn't know where we got these figures from? You all know where we got these figures from, right? These figures was gotten from the question that we just read. And then we are just represented those values in a crosstab or a cross-tabulation, which you see for yourself. So the question says construct a crosstab in a percentage table showing the relationship between the dependent and independent variable. So now we've shown our relationship between dependent and independent variable, which is this.
Yes, please, I'm in a class.
We've shown our relationship between this dependent and independent variable. We've established which one is the dependent. We established which one is the independent variable, right? And we've actually represented the values under each particular level, and then under the dependent variable and independent variable nicely. So in one breath, we have then completed this particular part of the crosstab that we asked. So now we are moving to the percentage table. Do you get me? How to get that particular percentage table by also showing that relationship between the dependent and independent variable. Do you get me? Hello?
Yes.
Are you
Yes,
with me?
we do. We are following.
Good. This is going to be your first question, right? I guess it's going to be your first question.
Yes, please.
Then we continue to the next one. We're going to do this for the percentage table. But remember, even though we're going to do this for the percentage table, you have to find the values for the percentage, as in how do I work for it. So as I told you earlier, where we have the value in that particular cell divided by the total, right? Total for a particular column, which is 100 times which is 300, 200 times 100, right? So in this instance, I write level. What do I write? Let me write yes. In this is I write yes. I write yes here. I'm just working. This is a rough sheet. You can work on a paper or not work, but I think you're still not going to have necessarily any mark for it. But you still have to just know how it is. And yes, I do level 100. Level 200. Level 200. Level 300. And then level 400. Anyhow you think you can arrange it, can make it okay for you, it's fine. Okay. So for level 100, if you're going to do that, what is going to be the breakdown? So it's going to be, I'm taking the first one, and the rest I'm going to leave it for. The first one is going to be,
So the first one is 200.
the first one is going to be 100.
100 divided by 200 times 100, which is going to give
200
us 50.
times 100.
Which is going to give us 50.
So, okay. Now, I'm going to ask you guys, replicate this and let me see. Take your pen and paper, take some and replicate this. I'm going to call you one after the other to give me the answers you've gotten for your calculation.
Okay.
No, or give us. So just using some few minutes to do this, and then we'll come back. Okay, let's give ourselves. So as you're doing, just be careful of reading the figures. Any style you feel you can represent it in calculating. That will not confuse you. Please, you can use that particular approach. Okay.
Okay.
So now, are you all with me? Do you have your phone calculators or your calculators with you? So when I call you, please, you get me the answer for the one I call you for. Okay.
Okay.
Nanama, what answer did you get for the first one, level 100, 100 over 120 times 100? What's the answer did you get? Nanama.
Hello, sir.
If the
Please,
number,
I'm on it.
hello.
I'm coming. Yes, please, I'm on it. I'm coming.
Okay, so as the number is on it, Stephen, what answer did you get for level 200? 120 over 300 times 100. What answer did you get for it? Stephen. Rebecca.
For which one, please?
For the 120 over 300 times 100,
40.
you have
40.
40, so 40%. What about the level 300?
25.
25%. And what about level 400?
Hello, everyone.
20.
Please can you hear me?
20%.
20%. Okay, so
Yes.
Stephen,
Hello. Yeah,
Stephen,
Eddie. Yeah,
give me
Eddie.
the values for the no. What did you get for 60, 140, 80, and then what again? What's the 140, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Give me the values for no.
Yes, please for 60 I had 30.
30,
Yes,
30. Okay.
please.
Please be verifying if also that will go so that we can have this one. Is that you had 30?
Yes, please, 30. And for 140 I had 46.6.
46.6.
Yes, please.
Yeah, 46.6
Wait,
is
Point
I don't
six
know if
six
you
six
can add
six
it up.
seven.
wait, it's okay.
47.
Wait, 7. You have 46 point. What followed? Let me know.
46.66667.
46.66667. So to become 46.7, one decimal place.
Yes.
So 46.7%. Then the next one,
40.
40. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
The next one,
The next one is 40. It's also 46.66%.
46.7.
40.
46.7.
Okay, sorry. 40. Let me clean
6.7.
this. 46.7%. Okay. 40 points. Let me do this way. So some who will volunteer for the next one for us? Someone who has not spoken will take the last one for us.
Okay, so they don't know.
Yeah.
The first one is 20%.
20%. Thank you. Oh, sorry.
Then we have 13.3%.
13.3%. The next one.
We have 35%.
Okay, 30. What am I doing? So 35%. Then the last one.
And we have 33.3%.
33.33%. And please, your name.
It's your own boy, Frederick or say Mesa.
Oh, Fred. So the total will give us the total will be what? The total for all will be what?
You mean for all the percentage?
No, for like your column.
100.
100. Good. So now someone should give us the first one that we didn't write. The level 100. 100 over.
Please 50. Please 50.
50.
50%.
50.
Yeah, 50%.
So now are all these values correct?
Yes, Eddie.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
If all our values are correct, then somebody will say We are about to jump into our table. You see, this one is very easy, right?
Yeah.
So easy. That's why when you people were shouting about this course, oh, the course is difficult. When I'm going to do maths, or so cool down. It's going to, yeah, it's going to be easy. Sometimes people just try to people scare you. Oh,
Hello,
is this
Mr.
this?
Eddie.
Yes.
Please, if you add 20 plus 13 plus 35 plus 33, I think you are getting 101.
Which one is that one? Let's so that we deal with it.
I think they don't know.
Don't know. So don't know the value is supposed to be what 20%. Don't know the value is supposed to be 20%, 13.3, 35.0, and 33.3. When you add, it gives you 100.1%. Is that so?
Yeah, I think 101.
Okay, let me. Are you all getting the same thing? 21.
Yeah, 101.6 or so.
Because of the points.
So then those the figures for the 3, please recalculate it and tell me.
No, even if you eliminate
No, it's the same thing. It's 33.3333, which we are not even approximating it.
even
So
if you eliminate the decimals at the back, let's say we should stick to the whole numbers, you will get 101. Like 20 plus 13 plus 35 plus 33, you will get 101.
You're following the process, and the process is not wrong, Joe. So let's leave it as that, because it's definitely the same question Prof gave to them. So let's leave it at that, because it's still going to be 101. It's going to be 101. That they don't know column. A minute.
So in this case, now that we are getting above 100%, what next?
No, you're going to equivalent the same thing
something.
to.
I realized that if you don't do it this way and then you do it, let's say you take only level 100 and you do yes, no, and don't know, it tallies with the 100%. Everything tallies. But when you split it according to yes, no, and then don't know, that is where you get the 101. Because I did my I took level 100. I did for yes, no, and don't know. Same with level 200, 304, and I had 100% for all. Okay.
Okay.
Because even if we add the no, the percentage for the no, I think that one too is above.
It's above, yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so each percentage is calculated within its own course level.
I think even the first one is more. It's also more.
Yeah, it's above 100%.
It's above 100.
Yeah, so when we calculate when we calculate within its own percentage, yeah, that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be.
That's how it's supposed to be. That's the reason why you are getting what you are getting.
Yes.
I get it now.
Yes.
Hello, so it's not wrong. Do you get me?
No, it's not wrong.
It's not wrong. It's we are tabulating 4 things instead of 3 things.
Okay.
Do you get it now?
Yes.
Hello. Okay. Those who are asking the question, do you get it?
Yeah.
See, please, it's noisy. Mute and let me explain something. So I'm coming. So when we were calculating, as what the reason why the person was saying we had 101 was that over here, the calculation, he was doing the calculation like this. I'm coming, wait. See something. Look at my screen. 20.0 plus 13.3 plus 35.0 plus 33.3. This was what was done. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But that's not what we are doing. It's supposed to rather be level 100 total, level 200 total, level 300 total, level 400 total. So which is going to be basically you're going to have 20 plus 46.7 plus 33.3. This is what you are supposed to calculate. So I think what is causing the confusion, I'll take it for myself, because I feel the way maybe I've represented this, this part is what is making, but we're supposed to take it like this way. You're supposed to calculate this one, add this one,
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
then you add this, then you come and add this. This way, the way you're supposed to do it, not this way. You don't add this way. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Clear.
Hello?
Okay.
So you don't add this way. Because remember that the column was only 3. So if you add this way, that means you're rather adding the values for the levels, not you're not adding for the, what do you call it? The support valuta. Hope you're getting me.
Yeah. Yes.
So if you
Yeah.
add this way, you're adding the support valuta. If you add this way, you're adding what? The independent variables instead, the levels.
Yes.
You get me now? Is everybody okay now?
Yes,
Yes.
Eddie, it's okay.
Yes, please.
Okay.
So that's the 3 percentages for the various levels. Yes,
Yes,
no,
3
and
percentage for yes. Yeah. Which will give us,
yes,
instead of adding seeking to add
the various
this way,
percentages.
seeking to add the various levels. Yes, you see what happened that we had the 101 was that adding the levels. You're not supposed to add the level, you're supposed to add the support valuta, which is add this column instead. Do you get me? So you're adding the support valuta for level 100, support valuta for level 200, which is only 3, which is yes, no, and then don't know. Do you get me now, Fred?
Yes, I get it.
Okay.
And at every level, at every point should be 100%. So let's say for level 100,
100%. Yeah.
yes, we are to have 50 plus 30 plus 20.
Yes. So I think
Okay.
I'm supposed to even do it this way to make it easier. Let me do it this way instead, so that nobody gets confused. Let me do it this way. So we're adding this way. Do you get it now?
Yes.
Yes.
Noted.
Yes.
Please, can you please go back to the previous board before this?
So can I go to what?
Can you please go back to the previous board before this? I want to look at something.
Yeah, that's the previous board.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
So now we are down the percentages that we've gotten for these ones, right? So this we had
Yes,
this.
please.
We had this. So now we're about to just use the same ones, just represent them in a tabular form. So please take notice of the answers that we've had. I know you've written it in your books or your solutions. So let's just do that. Now let's come back to another table, which is going to do percentage table. We are kind of replicating the same way, just that we're changing some few things, that's all. So the top is now percentage table. independent variable, put that in mind. As I said, put that in mind, independent variable. The same thing. Cost level. Then this is level 100, level 200, level 300, level 400. So in this instance, dependent variable already, we've already identified this. This is our y. This is our x. All these have already been identified. Then the values that follows are
Yes, no, don't know in the name.
yes,
No.
no,
Don't know.
don't know. So now 3 people are going to pick them one after the other. You give me the values, then I write them. Make sure you're right, because if you are wrong, then I'm wrong. So the class also follow as they give the values to verify that everything is in line. So the first person should go give us level 100.
Okay, so level 100
Level.
for years.
Okay, so Fred, let's go. Level 100.
For years is 50.0%.
50.0%. Mm-hmm.
For no, we had 30.0%.
30.0%. Level 2,
And
sorry, don't know.
for don't know, we had 20.0%.
20.0%. Does all sum up to 100%?
Yes, please.
Okay. Then the next person should give us level 200.
For level 200, the first is 40.0%.
40.0%.
And then the second, which is the no, is 46.7%.
46.7%.
And then don't know is 13.3%.
13.3%. Does it sum up to 100%?
Yes, please.
Okay, so another person should give us the values for level 300.
Okay, so level 300, we have 25.0% for the yes.
25.0% for the yes.
40.0% for the no.
40.0% for the no.
And then 35.0 for don't know.
For don't know. The total up to 100.
Yes, please.
Okay. Then someone should give us the last one.
Level 400. Eddie, should I go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead.
So the yes is 20. 20.0, sorry. Yes, 20.0.
No,
And then the no is 46.7%. And then the don't know is 33.3%. Let's sum up to 100%.
Sum up to 100%. So in a nutshell, we've completed constructed the cross percentage table and then what? Crosstab table, showing the relationship between the dependent and what? Independent variable. Up to this stage, does anyone have a question before we move to the analysis? Does anyone have any question? Or do you understand up to this stage?
Yes, please.
Yes,
All
please.
this done, we are done with the first part of the question, right?
Yes.
All right, that is fine. Thank you.
Okay. Then the next part of this, or the last part of this question, which is very easy, is you're basically just going to give an analysis of what we've done so far. So the last part has to do with what? Analysis. Who would like to give an analysis for themselves? Maybe I'll also end up with my own analysis, but who would love to give us an analysis of what they've gone through? Who wants to give it a try? What do you see on the table? Using the same principle of what we spoke about, what we discussed in our slides. How would you give an analysis? There's not like a wrong or right answer for the analysis. It's basically what you see. What are you seeing? That's what you are basically being asked. What are you seeing?
So among 1,000 students from UG,
Good. Carry on. Among 1,000 students from the University of Ghana, from UG.
yes.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi, Eddie. I'm
Who
still
is giving us?
thinking.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Let me give you guys, like, all of you, 2 minutes.
Yes.
Ponder over your
Let's think
ideas,
about it.
the thoughts together. Since you now have the image for both the data and blah blah, let me just go back to just show you the one for the table for the percentage. So envision this, and then let's see what you think. Okay. 2 minutes. Gather your thoughts.
No, statistics. Not recorded.
Are your thought aligned now? Does someone want to give it a try? Does someone want to give it a try now? Hello? You don't have to worry. See, there's nothing like a wrong or right answer. It's just an analysis. What do you see? What do you basically see? What are you looking at? What do you see? It's just a table you're looking at. Then what do you see? Eh? Someone just give it a try. What do you see?
Can I try something?
Yeah, you can. Feel free.
So for level 200 and 400 students, 46.79 no support for Aluta. Like they are in sync, they are in agreement.
Good.
Yeah, thank you.
Good. So what she's saying, who else? Let's use this to build something. What she's saying is right.
The highest for.
Let me see if I can open this back. I want you to use. Yes, I want you to use this guideline I gave you, just to use that one.
Please. Okay, finish.
Yes.
Okay, you finish what you're saying.
Oh, if you want to give it a try, please carry on. Do that.
Okay, so I wanted to try and say, so can you say between level 100 and level 200, they have a slight, like, how do I say, similar, they have like a small similarity between them. Looking between them, they have the highest among all of them, or among the Eddie. Eddie, I want to try.
Try. Wait, let's take a few seconds. Look at how the steps of how to analyze the table is, and then out of what you are looking on your screen, just give it a try. What I don't know if it was Monica. What Monica said is part of it. Somebody spoke first earlier before we so what she said was part of it. So what she said fell under mention the highest and important percentage in each. So you realize that she mentioned some of the highest.
Highest, yes.
In what she was saying, right? And then one Teresa just said also, she's mentioned some of the characteristics of some of the things she's seen. So she's also describing the group. So that also is there. So looking at step how to analyze from looking at step 1, step 2, step 3. How would you put words together and just talk about what you see? That's what I want you to do. So I want you to just envision this thing, envision the table, and then use that one to tell me what you think. There's nothing like a wrong or right answer. So you just have to feel free and then say what you think or what you see based on this principle.
Okay. So for level 100, the highest support for Aluta was 50%, and then the lowest was 20.
Yeah. Yes. Please continue.
And then
I'm listening to you. Hello.
Hi, Eddie.
I'm listening to you. Please, kindly continue.
And then the highest for no was 46%. And then the lowest was 30%. For don't, the highest was 35, and then the lowest was 20. This shows that
which shows that so the last part is being able to show that if there's a relationship between a dependent and independent variable, or there is not. Right? So when you look at a table, do you see that there's a relationship between the levels and Aluta? Like, is a support? Do you see it there? Do you?
Yes. But never trouble from when I ask them.
Okay, so Oh, you see, for example, a total number of 1,000, is that 1,000 wise? A total sample of
Yes.
1,000
Yes,
students.
1,000 students.
The data shows that the support for periodic alluta decrease as course level what increase, which is true. You see, it's showing that all level 100 and maybe you have a lot of time on your hand. So if there's any alluta, there's any commotion be are there, you want to help out, blah blah blah. When you get to maybe level 200, it's increasing. Some people are getting certain grade, they want to focus on education. Level 10, it is decreasing. Level 400, you are looking to graduate. So some people may not necessarily having to join alluta. And actually, it is, if it is even true, am I lying? Some of you
Yes.
were even involved in the school more when you came to level 100. But now level 400, if they even call you, you will not go.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You won't. So it's the alluta decrease as the course level what increase, right? So level 100 students show more higher what support for what, which is 50%. Say yes to alluta.
Yes.
Whilst this there's a 4 for or 40% for level 200, 35% for 300, and 20% for 400. So the point over here is that opposition is what is stronger among what is opposition is stronger among higher what levels, because higher levels don't really take part, which is the 10 and 400. So the opposition is more stronger among higher levels, which is the 300, level 200, 400, or level 300 and 400.
I said yes, and I
Yeah,
could come
so
back.
it decreases when the levels go up.
Yeah, so you have like 40 and then 46% respectively. They said
Yes.
no,
Yeah.
that they are not doing alluta. So the percentage of the students like who are undecided is also what high in level 300 and 400 than in level 100 and 200.
Okay. Thank
And
you.
this is showing you that the course level has an influence on the students' support for alluta. So
Yes,
so
Eddie.
the issue here is the lower the levels of student, the lower the level students, they are more likely to support alluta, whilst the higher, or when the students are at the upper level, they are more likely to oppose what alluta,
Okay.
or they are going to be undecided. Do you get it now? So you are just basically saying what you are seeing on the table, and all that I've said is all the things that the table is saying, right?
Yes.
That's all the question is asking you. Tell us what you see from the table. Tell us what the table means to you. That's all it's asking you to do. So can I leave you guys with a question today? And let me leave you guys. Is there any
Yes, please.
question?
Yes, please.
Is there any question? Is there any question that anybody has for me? Hello?
No
Is there
for
any question
now.
that
No
anybody?
for now.
Good.
No
So
for
No,
let me
now.
just let me display this. You can take this question, write it down. You can try your hands on this and later send it to me in my DM. No
Eddie,
problem.
please, I'm not seeing it well.
Please, is it so? I can only get it. Can someone read it out? Can someone view it very well and read it out?
Yes, please.
Okay, please, can you read it out for them? I beg you.
I'm reading it. A researcher who was interested in the pattern of voting of rural and urban voters in the 2000 elections took a sample of 600 voters and made the following findings. Of those who voted NDC, 120 were rural and 80 urban. Please, should I go ahead? Hello?
Can you go ahead?
Okay. Of those who voted NPP, 100 were rural and 120 urban. Of the CPP voters, 60 were rural and 20 urban. For the PNC, 70 voters were rural and 30 urban. A. Construct a crosstab and a percentage table showing the relationship between the independent and dependent variables. B. Write an analysis of the data captured in A above. Please, I'm done.
Thank you very much. So I hope you guys you all heard him, right?
Yes, please.
Okay, so you can try your hands on them, and then you can send it to my DM, and then I'll take a look at it for you. Okay.
Okay.
Eddie.
So you can try your hands on them. Thank you very much. If there are no questions, thank you very much for joining the class.